So I've been divorced 5 times. And you, well, you've probably been divorced several times as well. What? Wait a minute, Aubrey. How can that be? I've never been married before. And I'll tell you, yes, you have. Because the type of divorce that I'm referring to is self-divorce. So in this video, we're going to talk about the number one thing that we need so that we can stay in union and in connection with ourselves so that we can start living authentically. Because by definition, what's a divorce? Well, divorce is a process. It's a process of ending a bond. It's a process of terminating a union. And that union that you're probably terminating could be that relationship with you. When you are evolving as a human being to your authentic self, it is a combination of freedom and fear. Because what is authenticity anyway? Well, authenticity is having the courage to be who you are, unapologetically. It takes a lot of courage to be who you are, but at the same time, it's so liberating. And this muscle of courage is really something that we have to continue building. So it's courage that we need. In fact, the opposite of courage is fear. And we all know that the top human fears include the idea of death and public speaking. But did you know that another huge fear that many humans have is actually being who they are? People are scared of being them, right? And so it takes courage to love who you are, and it takes courage to live who you should be. I realize that authenticity is really in everyone, right? Everyone has authenticity in them. It's just been buried for 20, 30, or how many plus years. Later, I'm going to share the benefit of living more authentically. And you'll be surprised because it is not all about you. And you have the choice, right? Whether you want to stay in your comfort zone or not. But I remember someone saying that comfort zone is danger zone. Comfort zone is danger zone, and so there is no growth, no human evolution when you are comfortable. Because life doesn't happen by chance, but it happens by change. And sometimes, change is not comfortable for us, and change is not comfortable for people witnessing this change in us. Well, sometimes we have to be brave enough to put relationships on park. It could be relationships with our job or relationships with people. And sometimes there are very intimate relationships that we have with people. But we have to have that courage to be able to put them on park. So in fact, I struggled with this because I remember, I was always putting other people first. I was people pleasing. I was self-sacrificing so much of my time and energy towards other people's values, but not really understanding or connecting or serving my own values. And I'm not saying that these qualities are bad. It's just that when there are no boundaries and there's no balance, and when there's too much compromising your authenticity, then that is when it becomes a toxic cycle. And I found myself in this toxic cycle. In fact, I think at the time it almost felt like it was so risky to be me, right? And to love me, because I've never done it before. I've never done it to this extent, because I realized that when there's risk, there's consequences. Because having that freedom to be you is not free. Let me repeat that. Having the freedom to be you is not free. It comes with a cost. And for me, it cost me the most intimate relationships. Because in their mind, they have this expectation and perception of who you should be. But we have to keep in mind that those who have known us the longest actually takes the longest to come around to this new change, this new version of us. But we have to recognize that life is not about people accepting us, and it's not about us staying the same. Life starts when we accept us and when we accept change. It's like going inside an elevator. And as you get higher, right, sometimes you have to drop people off. Why? Because that's not how far they can go with you. You're not on their level, and that's not where you belong. You were meant to go higher. You were meant to elevate, to live your life. And living more authentically just doesn't benefit you. It starts with you, but it's not all about you. When you start loving yourself more and living more in accordance with your true values, you actually become more valuable to your community. So living a life of your authentic self or your true self is actually a life of service. And later, I'm going to share some tips on how we can develop more courage. Learning how to build this muscle of courage will then learn how to have your own back. And I think that is so important, to always have your own back. No one else can have your own back more than you can. No one can hold it down more than you can. No one can protect your goals more than you can. And remember, how you love yourself is the first example of how people should love you. So keep rising and tap into your braveness, because there's no telling how high you can go. And this is what I'm asking of you, and really what the world is asking of you. Choose your greatness over sameness, and to choose individuality over conformity. Let me repeat that. Choose your greatness over sameness, and to choose individuality over conformity. But we have to remember that in order to be great, we have to be good at letting go. It also means letting go of our old version of who we used to be, letting go of those old belief systems so that we can, live authentically and live our truth. And so people are not going to like your truth. And that is okay. Some people will stay and some people will go. And that is okay. How can we develop more courage? Well, one way is through the power of life coaching. Life coaching helps you navigate those fears. It helps you manage your mind from fear to mental freedom. And another way too is life stories, right? Whether you're getting life stories from documentaries, the books that you read, or the things that you hear, or even your own personal experiences from struggle to resilience, can build up that courage for you. These tools have helped me to break free and to have multiple breakthroughs so that I was able to break free and live a more authentic life. In fact, here's a life story of a person who was really in a bad situation. She hit rock bottom until she had the courage to restart her life. You might even know who she is, but if you feel stuck or too broken, then this next video is for you.